When we start talking about organizations that grow through acquisition or grow more organically, I don't know that there's huge fundamental differences when it comes to how to scale in both. I think each strategy and model really have their own impact and their own place based on the circumstances. There are many medical organizations, many areas that have a depletion in medical resources where acquiring by acquisition, which usually means that you have backing by private equity or venture capital, allows for an increase in services and where that fundamental investment is necessary for the overall success of that healthcare system from a regional or geographic perspective. I also think there's also other opportunities where people want and are willing to pay more for more concierge services, where maybe a high growth acquisition model isn't the right model for that type of organization. One in which a more focus on like I said, concierge or white glove services makes more sense. So I'm not one to say that one approach or the other is better. I think it's circumstantial. But if we take a look at sort of like what the core differences between the strategies are, is that when we're acquiring, we're looking at a faster top line growth, which is fine. I don't think this is technically the goal of those organizations. I think what it is a widening of services while also having a operational control, leverage, and scalability, meaning if you only need one finance department for 7 different practice areas or practitioner areas versus a finance department for each, you start getting economies of scale. And so with those areas, we find or those areas that have limited resources, we find that this gives them a lot more reach and a lot more capability to service their local community, which has a lot of great benefits to it. There's also pros and cons to everything. So when we look at it, we see this revenue growth. A lot of times this hides some of these inefficiencies within the organization for a short period of time. But then we start to see integration being a high risk because when you're acquiring at a fast pace, you're bringing multiple systems in together, disparate systems with multiple information. And sometimes your visibility and transparency into that isn't as wide. That's why when we see something like Sage Intacct or an ERP, where you want that centralized base and something that is that hub that has the ability to integrate or bring that data into it from these multiple sources. That's why you see a lot of private equity, venture capital invest in these type of solutions from a long-term effort. The other thing that I want to bring up that's not really financial related or finance related is culture. And so when you have a high growth focus on acquisition, it can create culture fragmentation because you're bringing in multiple or groups of people from different areas and from different backgrounds and from different perspectives into one. And that's a very challenging component. When we look at an organically growing organization, one that is going to build revenue growth through marketing and referrals, is going to build revenue growth by showing excellence in community and things of that nature. What you're going to find is a slower upfront growth trajectory, but one that is probably easier sustained for a privately owned organization. The ability to maintain standardized processes is easier. And what the hope is that because you are very laser focused on what you do, you're not going to have 7 different practice areas, that you're going to be more efficient and have better margins in that one thing that a larger organization has. But again, now you're going to be relying on your own referral pool for services or patient care that you don't provide. But both, or I should say, and both have this reality of to scale and to scale consistently means you have to have the right systems and the right data to be able to do so. It's just a matter of what data is more important. And what I would say is where both get a lot of value from a product like Sage Intacct, the need for integration is higher on the acquisition side, and the need for real KPI and detailed numbers from a sustainability and organic growth perspective is where that side of the house really gets a lot of value out of finance operations.